To get wins, you do not need to play passive and sit in a box all game. My promise to you is that by the end of this video, you know exactly how to survive off spawn and avoid getting third-partied mid-game, as well as everything you need to do end-game to secure the win. The tips in my videos cannot be found anywhere else on YouTube, so do yourself a favor and subscribe as I upload videos every day that are designed to help you improve as fast as possible. With that said, let's begin. When you're trying to get more wins, there's one thing that you need to do, and it's very, very important, and that's to have 3 drop spots. You need 3 drop spots in solos especially, because there's going to be times where your perfect drop spot that you absolutely love is first drop, and if you're trying to get more wins, you can't land there. It's just not doable, and you always want to be picking locations on the edges of the map because they're going to be less contested. And obviously I do recommend to pick unnamed locations for solos. If you're playing trios, definitely go with a named location because it's going to be much more beneficial for you because it's a big POI, there's 3 people, it's going to equal to more loot. And that's where I want to say, don't land at a shambles spot just because it's unnamed. Literally, I've seen people land at a tree with 1 chest and take a car and just dip. I do not recommend that. Do not land at a location like that because sure, you're going to get uncontested off spawn, but when mid game comes, you've got like 2 guns, maybe you've got a good bit of shield and some mats, but you don't have a fully structured loadout. You don't have your guns that you perform well with, and that's what your drop spot is all about, is actually perfecting what weapons you get. Sure, you could get a spaz, but if you would prefer to have a charged shotgun, you need to make your drop spot all about maximizing the chances of getting a charged shotgun. Vice versa, if you prefer a fishing strategy, land at a spot with fishes. It's the same thing. You gotta just angle your game in a different way. If you prefer rotating through the purple tubes, land at a place near them. If you prefer rotating with cars or boats, land near them. So it's very easy to get looped up in what a good drop spot is just because of the loot, because that's what everybody's tunnel vision on. Is it contested? Does it have loot? You need to be thinking further ahead into your rotations out of there. Like, do you want to get kills? Do you think you can still pull off a win and maybe pick up 6 or 7 kills? Do you want to slay out? Or do you want to go down the lines of more of a, sit in a box strategy? Not quite sitting in a box, but putting yourself in a good position where you can literally just get way more wins because of you're not taking stupid fights. You're not getting tunnel visioned on fights that you don't need to take because a win is going to give you way more points. So why would you take a fight when you can just make it to the win? So let's talk about mid game. This is probably the most important part of your game because this is where a lot of people mess up. And this is the reason why people aren't good at endgame, because they never make it past mid-game. The way you progress and get better at Fortnite by just playing arena, because I know a lot of people do that. They might not mess with creative as much as they do arena. I know I definitely prefer arena over than creative because I'm constantly getting in different situations. Whereas if you do build fights over and over again, it's the same situation repeated. Whereas if you're playing arena to practice, I know it does take a lot longer to get better, but you're prepared for more different situations. And that's where you need to understand third parties is just insane in arena, okay? So you obviously want to be rotating around the edges of the map, but you also want to know when to flip the whole strategy and get into dead center of zone. See, a lot of people think about, oh, if I just stay on the edge of the map and I rotate in slowly, sure, it can work. But you also have to remember, there's W key players. W key players are going to be on the edge of zone as well because they're going to be in a fight and they're going to rotate in from storm because they just got griefed. And then all of a sudden they're behind you, and then that's not good for you because they're going to hold you in storm. Whoever wins that, it doesn't matter because you're both going to be scuffed for the next zone. So you always want to be like 10 steps ahead in your mind and planning your position out. You need to know, if zone pulls this way, I have a spot where I can go. If zone pulls this way, here's a mountain I can wrap around and get on the dead side, and just constantly be thinking of ways to avoid third parties. You never want to fight in, like, I would say third zone. Second zone you'll get away with, especially in trios, but third zone is a rough zone. You do not want to be kind of caught fighting there, especially if it's a stacked lobby, because it's so enclosed and small that everybody can see everybody, more than likely. If someone has a good position on the mountain, they can see the whole lobby. So you want to actually be the guy that's looking for the mountain rather than the guy being in a fight, because if you get high ground on third zone, you can look around and be like, oh, that's the contested side, that side is kind of meh. There's a river over here. Oh shit, there's a pad placed there that's boxed up. You can get all this information, which will enable you to make better decisions because you're more informed. So that's where mid-game comes in. Mid-game should be the part of the game where you consume as much information as possible, so that way when you get into endgame, you can slay out because you've got all the answers to the questions. You know that I don't want to go this way because it's stacked, because in third zone I seen how many people were over here. It's more than likely going to be the same thing. oh wait, it was dead side on this side, end game has come, zone pull that way, let's make an early rotate, let's take height. It can be so much easier to do well in end game when you have a good mid game, and you have a good mid game because you got a good early game. So it all is a knock-on effect. But I'm gonna just lead it into end game because that's the way this video is going, and I just want to keep informing you of more little just like bags of information. I'm not giving out major facts in this video. I'm just pointing you guys in the right direction. Keep your brains refreshed because I'm pretty sure most of you know these kind of tips, but I just want to make sure you're executing on them right, because that's the main thing when it comes to improving at anything in life, is that I see so many people, even myself, all consume so much information. Give me all the tips, give me all the information, give me all the methods, and I just don't use them. So I'm just trying to make it very simple and refreshing everything, making sure that you're fully aware that there's a very, very thin line between getting information and then actually using that information to make you a better player, and then just taking all the information and doing nothing with it. So I'm not going to give you nothing pointless in these videos. I'm giving you everything you need, and I'm not making it more complicated than it needs to be. Endgame though. Endgame is where like literally people mess up the most, and there's a simple reason for that. When you jump out of the bus, you're instantly in early game. So everybody is going to be better at early game than late game unless you play scrims or unless you play a shit ton of creative, zone wars, stuff like that. And the reason being is because you're going to have everybody is partaking in early game. Everybody in the lobby is partaking in early game. They're off spawn, they're fighting, they're dying, they're winning fights, they're looting. So when you're going to spend more time in early game than late game because of mid game. Mid game, you'll make it to mid game, you'll die. You'll make it to mid game, you'll die. And you're not making it to that end game, especially when you're a W key player. You'll perfect early game, you'll perfect mid game, but when late game comes, if you keep dying in your like practice games and whatever, you're not perfecting end game. And end game is the vital part. End game is the decision maker of you will win this tournament or you will come top 5 in this tournament. So not win the tournament, but you know what I mean, win that exact game. Like you'll come first in that game, take the victory, or you'll come top 5 or top 10 and die off because of a stupid mistake. And I've seen it so many times in VOD reviews that I've been doing last week. I've been doing 2-3 hour VOD reviews. I'll actually link a playlist at the end of this video for you, where I was VOD reviewing Toos, and I seen that, like the way he played, and even Janice did it. Janice was using a lever action shotgun, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Someone deciding to take a charged shotgun over a pump, or not a charge, a lever, bro, a lever action, and he fucking dominated with it. So there's definitely ways you can find little peek holes, and there's a reason why he's using the lever, but I'm not going to explain it in this video because that's off topic. It's all about your moving zones though, okay? If you can perfect mid game and you pick up all that information like we just said, and then you execute on the information you received in mid game in end game. So you make your good rotates, you set yourself up, maybe you pick up 1 or 2 kills, but I'm telling you right now, in half and half, you need to either be on high ground or mid ground. You don't want to be on low ground, and you want to be in half and half as early as possible. Never late rotate to half and half. If you have a pad, still early rotate to half and half. It's completely chaos if you late rotate, especially in high level lobbies like F and CS. Any like after your like 6th game in a cash cup, the lobbies tend to get really hard. So do not late pad in half and half. You can do it in a moving zone, perfect, nothing wrong with that. Half and half is like 2 different types of players. You've got the people in the half and half zone guarding it, focus beaming you that is not in it. So if you pad late, you're just going to get pulled. It doesn't matter if you're short padding, you might as well run it. That's why I recommend carrying all these type of different rotations that we have in the game right now. You've got pads, so common. You have the floppers that make you invisible, shadow floppers. They're so overpowered, definitely should be using them. You might as well land at a fishing location. You get slurpfish, you get normal floppers, shadow floppers, take what you can get. And that will then again help you in endgame with that rotation. And literally just use all of the advantages you have. I've seen so many people been like, I'm in mid game, I have a pad, I want to keep it for end game, but this guy's keying me and I might die, and they don't want to use the pad and they die. But the thing is, you should use that pad then and there because it's going to further your life expectancy in the game, rather than holding on to it and then not using it because you died because you didn't use it. Hopefully that makes sense. But use the stuff you have when you need to use it. If you have peppers in a moving zone and you want to keep them, if you have a hop flopper or a shadow flopper and you don't want to use it, you want to keep it, but it's moving zone. The thing is, bro, you could die if you don't use it. So would you rather get 2 extra placements or save it for that scenario where you're going to get a definite win from it? So I would say use it to get that bit further. and definitely get a pick in half and half zone. I was VOD reviewing my boy Somo the other day, and the thing is, one pick was the difference between him winning a game and losing the game. And it actually turned out that the pick he was trying to get came around and hit him like a 160 pump, and it kind of scuffed him. He did get the kill in the end, but the thing is, the guy he was trying to get the pick from had hit him, unfortunately, and did a lot of damage, which is just ridiculous when you think about it, because I know what it does to your mental more so than what it actually does to you in the game scenario. So you always need to be focused on getting a pick in half and half zone, because then you're going to be set up for endgame, like proper endgame. Like, I mean, last 3-4 players alive, and it's down to the last, 5-10 seconds. You need to have the materials to maintain high ground, to maintain mid ground, to pick up as many kills as you want on low ground. You need those hard materials so you don't get griefed. And if you don't have those hard materials, you are going to get griefed. So you need to be thinking ahead, and you need to understand that you need to get a pick before you think you need to get a pick. A lot of people be like, oh shit, 80 mats, I need a pick. It's too late. You need, like, when you've used all your metal and brick, and you're just down to maybe 200 or 300 wood, that's when you need to be thinking about getting a pick, because you've no more hard mats. So if you see a nice pick, you should be like 100%, I'll take that pick. That, or if you see some floating mats, definitely take it. Definitely get it, because it's a refresh. It's going to help you. But with that said, hopefully this video just gave you a good reminder, a good chunk of information that you can add to your game. If you did like the video, make sure you like it. That playlist is on screen right now for all of the VOD reviews. And if you want to become a member, check out the links in the description and become a member here on the channel and get specific coaching in our private Discord. But with that said, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for the support, boys. GG's.